I was scrolling through my Facebook and I was struck by how many advertisements there were claiming I was missing out on something, claiming that if I had this product or this subscription service or if I was able to use this service to find the right relationship, my life would be perfect again. And it struck me because for the first time I realized how much the world tries to sell me on stuff. All sorts of stuff and things to fill some hole that I have that I didn't even know I had. And that leads me to think today about our next spiritual discipline, this new idea that for some of us sort of maybe seems foreign as a concept. As we look around the world, it's not a widely practiced one. In our culture, we love stuff. Let's be honest. We celebrate things. We bring accolades on people who collect all sorts of knickknacks and junk, and we glorify addictions that are unhealthy. And that's where this first spiritual discipline of the outward disciplines is really a challenge for us. And Richard Foster talks about this as sort of a bridging between an inward and an outward discipline at some level, because simplicity is really an inward experience, an inward simplicity that manifests itself in an outward expression. It's something that we first experience inside of our hearts that ultimately drives us to behave differently. And it sounds sort of familiar because it sort of falls in line with John Wesley's idea of our Christian faith is really an inward transformation that manifests itself outwardly in the way we live to love one another, to love God and love one another. And Jesus himself even says we can't serve two masters. We're either going to love God or love the stuff that we have. We're either going to serve the Holy Spirit's movement within our lives, or we're going to serve the things of this world that we pursue more than him. And Foster gives sort of a less than simple description of what that kind of looks like as far as things we can do to try to overcome this need to overcomplicate our lives when it comes to pursuing God. And I'm not going to go through this whole list, but some of the things include, taking stock of our lives. What are the things that we are addicted to that we don't even realize are controlling the way we live? That can be alcohol, caffeine, sugary drinks, and candy, and unhealthy snacks, and it could also be behaviors. It could be the programs on TV that we are obsessed with. Even our sense of politics can become a sort of idol that controls us, that addiction to being right all the time. And then he goes on to also offer the reminder that we have to ask ourselves the things that we do purchase. If there are certain things that we need, buy them for practicality. Buy them for the fact that they're going to provide exactly what you need, not what you think will present you as a better person or of a higher status because of having them. How big is the house that we need? How much space do we really need to provide a safe place to lay our head at night and to raise a family? How much furniture do we need to fill that space with? How many knickknacks do we need sitting on a shelf? Sometimes we have to ask ourselves, is this really a necessity? Is this really something I'm that worried about having? And along with that, some of the things we buy, we don't even realize what impact it's having on God's people around the world. Let me give you an example. Not too long ago, the Associated Press, a news group that I'm partial to reading for their reporting, found that many of the fish and seafood products that we purchase in our frozen section at the marketplace are coming from slave labor. I think one of the hardest parts of simplicity for me is recognizing that I don't really actually own anything. The Bible frequently reminds us that ultimately all things in this world, including us, belong to God. We just simply are stewards of it, and we are meant to use those things for the sake of God's glory, to pursue the kingdom. If the things we have, if the things we think we own keep us from the kingdom, we no longer own them, but they own us. And that's what simplicity tries to get at, is reminding us that the things of this world ultimately pale in comparison to pursuing the God of the universe who loves us. So over the next couple of weeks, I invite you to practice simplicity. Go through your stuff. Take a look at it and really honestly ask yourself and reflect, do I really need this? Or is this something that someone else could truly benefit from more than I can? Be okay with not getting anything in return for it. Just give it away. And let this practice of simplicity be a way that God reminds you what's really most important in this world, and that's the kingdom working in you.